New video in the search for a man from Blue Island. His daughter says this is the first real lead in weeks. And just look outside for a second. The first weekend of the year is here. We keep hearing warmer days are coming. So how real is that?
Live from Chicago, this is Fox 32 News at 9.
I'm Terrence Lee. Glad you're here tonight. We begin with a rough start to 2026 for a family record store in Beverly. Someone crashed into it on New Year's. The front doors are closed, but tonight, Fox Chicago's Brett Bagansky looks at how they're trying to keep the music going.
Absolutely sick, in shock.
They are the sounds that don't normally come out of this mom and pop record store.
Which this is really like our entryway into the shop. All of that was destroyed. Inside
Beverly Phonomart, the recommended speed is 33 or 45 RPMs.
Well, I mean, I got a call around 8 a.m. When you get that call, you know it can't possibly be anything good.
The co-owner, Mallory McClare, found out a car crashed through their store in the early hours of New Year's Day, going close to 100. Not RPMs, but miles per hour.
It took a while to really process.
Bricks piled up on speakers, broken glass scattered on the floor.
And from what we found when we cleaned up, it was pretty clear that someone was injured in our store.
And stacks of vinyl.
And there are some that you might never come across again.
This crash damaged 3 different buildings, including the Beverly Phonomart. Take a look at this. It was so bad. There are now structural integrity issues in the front of the store. This is why you see these support beams where I'm standing, and it's the reason why this business is going to be closed for the foreseeable future.
What's the estimated damage?
We don't know yet. We have no clue. There's a lot of damage to the facade of the building that we're still learning more about.
Like going through crates of records, they'll sift through it all to make sure they didn't skip over anything.
To share what we love with people, we designed it to really feel a lot like an extension of our home.
Their home now has boards covering the windows and doors, reminding people side A has some temporary scratches, but on side B.
But we're keeping our website up so people can make purchases online. We'll be doing free deliveries in the Beverly area, partnering with local businesses for pickup.
This will hopefully get McClare and her husband back on the right track. In Beverly, Brett Bagansky, Fox Chicago.
Well, tonight the mayor is talking about Chicago's new crime numbers, and they show violent crime dropped last year. In a post on X today, Mayor Brandon Johnson said, "My commitment is to double down on the efforts that have proven to be effective, to continue to save more lives and to create more opportunities for people." Now, here's what police are reporting for last year, January 1st through December 31st. About 1,400 shootings. That's about a 35% drop from 2004 when it was over 22,000. Murders also went down just over 400 last year, about 150 fewer than 2024. And the number of people shot dropped too. About 1,800 victims last year, about 2,800 the year before. So yes, the numbers move, but what keeps them moving this way? Well, people working in neighborhoods say these changes come from years of consistent hands-on work, and that national leaders, including the president, are missing that context.
I think it's insulting for him to sit in Washington and D.C. and say it's a war zone in Chicago, and this is the lowest the number has been since before I was born. And that's just tarnishing or trying to tarnish the work that we're doing here with government, the state and county, everybody saying, hey, this is the recipe that works. Chicago.
Samuel Castro with the Institute for Nonviolent Chicago says the work is very practical. They step in when beef is starting. They mediate before someone grabs a gun. And after a shooting, they help families and try to stop the payback. Castro says when shootings drop, regular life feels different. You see more people outside. Kids use the parks again. People stop moving like they're bracing for something. And he says the next step is staying in the same neighborhoods and doing this consistently. He says that's why other cities like Detroit, New York, Atlanta, and L.A. have been calling him to get insight. In the south suburbs, police just released new video from a car crash that happened hours before a man from Blue Island disappeared. It's been over a month. His family told Fox Chicago's Leslie Moreno this footage might help explain what happened.
family says that body camera footage was difficult to watch, but they believe it reinforces their belief that he may have suffered some sort of medical emergency, possibly a stroke. It's been more than a month since 59-year-old Daniel Davis vanished from Blue Island. Newly released body camera video shows Davis stepping out of a Cook County Sheriff's vehicle on November 25th. As he walks towards a curb, he appears to stumble.
He was quick to respond. He was even being funny and witty at some points. He was very coherent, but there were some little things that his family noticed watching it that weren't right.
Family says Davis was in a car crash the morning he disappeared. A sheriff's deputy picked him up from the scene of the crash and drove him to Bourbon Street where he works. After reviewing the footage, family says there are clear signs that point to a medical emergency.
We can tell that the left side of his body is a little bit impaired because at another point in the video, there's, he points to something and his hand isn't fully, his hand is a little, kind of limp with his left hand. So, and it's the left side of his face a little bit that's slightly droopy in some clips. So there's a lot of little signs that, again, are just subtle enough to look over if the officer doesn't know what his baseline is. They don't know who he is.
Davis was reported missing on November 25th. He was seen on November 26th along Union Road walking through alleys and backyards. The Blue Island Fire Department has conducted water searches while family and friends have organized some of their own both online and on the ground. This weekend, at the request of the Chicago Police Department, Code 3 Search and Rescue from Ohio was deployed to assist with the search.
There are some things he had on him, and so our ground search teams will be looking for those items or just any clue that he was in the area. We're just looking for anything that shows a sign of him to give us that kind of next location to look in.
Family is looking ahead to what they hope will be a turning point.
The help of the community has been carrying us through this, and we cannot be anywhere where we are right now without the public's help, without, everyone's help.
Search efforts began Friday morning and will continue through Sunday evening. Search crews will focus mostly on bodies of water as well as wooded areas. Family is hopeful something will come out of this weekend search. In Blue Island, Les Marino, Fox, Chicago.
Okay, yes, it's cold, but also maybe not for long. Meteorologist Mark Stroh has the first check of your forecast. Mark, talk to us.
A big warm up coming our way Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all next week. We are going to see temperatures in the middle and upper 40s for the most part. Tonight, we are about normal, a little bit below normal, and you can see we do have good visibility across the south end of the lake. Temperatures right now, 15 in Woodstock, cooling down to 19 right now. In DeKalb, 17 degrees at Waukegan. Elsewhere across the south suburbs, temperatures mostly in the low 20s. Tonight, most of us, in fact, all of us, will get down into the teens, and the northwest suburbs into the lower teens and maybe even a single digit or two. The winds are very light, however, mostly under 5 miles per hour, and that means wind chills, although we have them, they're pretty light as well. Wind chills mostly in the single digits from Waukegan back to around Crystal Lake. In the low double digits from O'Hare to Midway and downtown right now. And wind chills tomorrow will improve a little bit. We'll talk more about that coming up in a moment.
All right. Senator Tammy Duckworth is pushing back after the president said this week he pulled National Guard troops from several cities, including Chicago. In a post on X, Duckworth said, "This is a lie. We blocked Trump's troop deployment to Chicago. The Supreme Court even ruled Trump would have been breaking the law had he deployed them on our streets." What we know is this: legal challenges in Illinois had already kept any deployment from moving forward. Flu cases are climbing around Illinois and Chicago. We'll show you what the numbers look like and what doctors say helps most. Also, a look at artificial intelligence in the workplace, where it's actually useful and where people are still side-eyeing it.
I'm Cassie Carlson. A Bears win clinches the 2 seed. It means a chance to send Green Bay packing, plus home field advantage for the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. Ben Johnson not surprised that after their 0-2 start to the season, they're in this position now. Hear why coming up in sports.
Artificial intelligence is already part of a lot of our day, whether you ask for it or not, at work, on your phone, even in how businesses get things done. Brooke Taylor takes a look at how companies are using AI right now.
Please tell me the destination.
From customer service bots to cleaning and delivery bots, Fox News gets a look at the future of AI and how robots are changing the way we work and live.
It's expanding and keep accelerating.
Robot Lab, which is headquartered in Texas, has locations across the country. They house over 50 types of robots, and they don't just supply the bots, but help businesses understand how to use AI to boost efficiency.
Do you think that one day our competition is going to be a robot like that behind you?
So it's not that robots are taking jobs, robots are filling the gap. People just are not interested in the entry-level positions, especially when we're talking about pushing carts, moving food in restaurants, cleaning floors.
Industries like nursing homes are using AI bots to engage with dementia patients. Restaurants and hotels are using them to deliver food and act as a concierge service. And warehouses are using them to help sort boxes. The cleaning bots are the most popular, sweeping hundreds of thousands of square feet per day. But Robot Lab CEO Alad Imbar says humanoid bots like this one are the future of AI.
Pepper uses cameras, microphones, and touch sensors to see.
Probably in a couple of years, I'll start seeing humanoid robots that are capable and actually valuable for everyone's life. You can get your maid, your cook, your housekeeper, and everything. It's just there and does everything for you.
Recently, President Trump signed an executive order aimed at preventing states from overregulating AI. Inbar says this is key for keeping businesses competitive in the AI race, especially against China.
It affects everything from national security, to productivity, to even the ability to sustain our lives in power consumption and everything else. So these are the things that we need AI to solve for us, to work with, because if you're not first, you're last.
And before we go, I want to introduce you to the Robo Dog. He is here and ready to show off his tricks. In South Lake, Texas, Brooke Taylor, Fox News.
Don't you wave at me, buddy.
You're not digging that, are you?
Don't you wave at me. You look like a Demodog from Stranger Things. All right, AI can set this one out, Marcus. You got the forecast.
I was hoping for like something kinder, gentler, like Rosie the robot, or like a cute robot,
She'd
but
still
not
turn on you.
They're all going to turn on us eventually. Mark my words. All right, the weather not so vicious.
It's a new segment there, I think.
I think
Mark
it is.
Mark my words.
I like
Come on.
Hey, I like it. You're kind of a big idea guy.
All right, listen, I do what I can.
That's what I like about you. Northwest winds now at 5 miles per hour makes our 19 feel more like 12 here at the moment. But fortunately, our winds not all that vigorous tonight. Winds about 4, 5, 6 miles per hour, so wind chills are not going to knock you off your feet. You're in pretty good shape tonight. 19 at O'Hare, 21 at Midway, 20 degrees along the lakeshore at 17, up the lake at Waukegan. Overnight tonight, we are going down into the teens. I think we could see a single-digit reading or two, especially Lake and McHenry County. We're certainly seeing that right now when it comes to wind chill. 7 degrees at Woodstock, 8 degrees at Waukegan. Elsewhere, temperatures mostly in the upper teens and low 20s. So it is a cool winter night. Now, there's some snowfall out on the map. Most significant snowfall happening on the eastern Great Lakes. Talk about getting buried. Oswego, New York. 3 feet of snow, and it's snowing, or has snowed at the rate of 2 to 4 inches per hour. That's like if you sit still long enough, you can just get buried. You got to keep moving, otherwise you're going to turn into a snowman. We have some light snowfall coming in across Wisconsin. I think that largely leaves us alone overnight tonight and tomorrow. There's a little disturbance out to the west that dives down, kind of falls apart. The deal is we have pretty dry air overhead right now. So anything coming our way, going to be sponged up by our dry air for the most part, and that is until Sunday night. There is about a 15 to 20% chance we could have a little wintry mix late on Sunday. Temperatures for the weekend in the low 30s. Look what happens Monday. We're up to 47 degrees. So here's a look at your futurecast. Quiet. There's this. Look at this system comes down here. This is Saturday morning, but pretty much evaporates almost instantly as it moves into Chicago. I think most of what you're seeing in the forecast model there going to have a hard time reaching the ground. I'm going to keep the snow out of the forecast for tomorrow. And then as we head towards Sunday, Well, we've got more cloud cover popping back into the forecast. There's our weak little disturbance that comes through with just a tiny chance of a little bit of wintry mix coming late in the day on Sunday. Overnight tonight, we're in the teens. Tomorrow, daytime highs up to 30 degrees. And your 7-day forecast. Winter-like conditions for Saturday and Sunday. But look at this. We're almost talking about spring with temperatures closing in on 50 degrees by the end of the week.
Let's warm it up then. Thank you, Mark. In your Health Watch, a fruit is having a moment with doctors, the kiwi. Why? They say it's doing more than you'd expect. Dina Santafonte explains the benefits.
Next time you're grocery shopping, you might want to put kiwi on your list. The funny, fuzzy little green fruit is getting attention from doctors for being a natural remedy for people with chronic constipation. In fact, doctors at University of Michigan were among the first to study kiwi as a treatment to, move things along. And new guidelines out of the UK recommend it.
This guideline actually focused on natural therapies, things like prunes or kiwi fruit or certain kinds of fiber supplements as a treatment for chronic constipation. And this really aligns nicely with what patients are asking for more and more on a daily basis.
Dr. Che, president of the American College of Gastroenterology, says kiwi, with or without the skin, by the way, has many benefits to constipated patients, in part because of an enzyme.
Some people are surprised to hear that kiwi fruit can be beneficial for chronic constipation. Kiwi fruit at a dosage of 2 to 3 fruits per day have been found to improve the symptoms of chronic constipation, probably related to the fact that kiwi contains a lot of fiber, has water holding capacity to soften stool, and enzymes like actinidin, which have been found to be beneficial for promoting contractile activity, motility in the GI tract, which can benefit constipation.
Usually to help get things going, doctors tell patients to increase fiber, water, exercise, but now there's solid research to support this natural treatment.
Previously published guidelines have tended to focus on medical therapies. The reason for that is because that's where the evidence is. If you think about it, the companies that produce these medications for chronic constipation are the people that tend to fund these studies. And so studies that address more natural things like fruits and vegetables tend not to get done because there's nobody to fund that type of research.
All right, let's go get some kiwi. If you haven't started your new year or reset yet and you're not behind, you might actually be doing it right. Experts say January 1st is not the best day to start, especially for weight loss. The Monday after New Year's tends to work better. New week, clean slate, less pressure. Experts say starting right before a weekend can be a setup, plans change, routines break. So if you are still easing into it, my friends, that's not a miss. That's just better timing. Maybe you want to work on communicating better this year. A lot of couples avoid the hard conversations, right? Well, therapists say that silence can do more damage over time than a tough talk ever would. The big ones people put off: money, sex, parenting, boundaries with family, unmet emotional needs. Experts say when those things stay unsaid, they turn into resentment, distance, and misunderstandings. Their advice is pretty straightforward. Have the conversation face to face. Stick to one issue at a time and lead with empathy, not defense. A quick heads up about the flu. Cases are going up. That includes here in Illinois. Health officials say a new strain is part of what's driving it. More people are ending up in the ER because of it. This data is from the week ending December 27th, by the way. In Illinois, just over 8% of emergency room visits were for the flu. The week before, it was just under 5%. In Chicago, ER visits and hospitalizations are at their highest level since 2022. Doctors say this is the window when it can still pick up steam.
A Bears win over the Lions on Sunday would lock up the 2 seed in the playoffs, meaning they'd host the Packers in the wild card round next weekend, seeing Green Bay for the 3rd time in nearly a month. It would also mean if they win, they host in the divisional round 2. Now, a loss and an Eagles win means they're the 3 seed and host the Niners or Rams. When Ben Johnson was hired, he described the Bears as a sleeping giant, and it turned out he was a coach they needed to awaken it.
Thought it could be a special group, and that's without knowing necessarily the makeup or the wiring behind all these guys. And the more I've been with them, the more impressed I've been. I think it is I said it a few weeks ago, it's a special group. I love how they go about their business. They love to compete. They love to, they have that right balance of being serious and dialed in, and wanting to do all the things the right way, but at the same time, we really enjoy being around each other too. I think it's a very close-knit group.
Bears receiver Rome Odunze returned to practice after missing 4 games with a foot injury. He's questionable on Sunday. Said he felt pretty good at practice on Friday, wants to play on Sunday, but it's up to the team's plan. Left tackle Ozzie Trapillo questionable with a knee and quad. Jaquan Brisker and Nick McLeod both questionable with an illness. Well, coming up after the news, stay tuned for Chicago Sports Tonight as we talk to the voice of the Detroit Lions, Dan Miller, and the Athletics' Dan Wiederer ahead of Sunday afternoon's game right here on Fox. Well, the college football playoff semifinals are set after a wild 2 days of quarterfinals. As if a 14-0 record wasn't convincing enough, Indiana may have finally convinced the rest of their doubters that they are now a football school. Kurt Cignetti's squad completely dominated Kalen DeBoer's Crimson Tide to keep their quest for the school's first national championship alive. And it's been a dream season for the Hoosiers. Their 38-3 win in the Rose Bowl gave Alabama their largest postseason loss in school history. And quarterback Fernando Mendoza finished with more touchdowns than incompletions as the Hoosiers became the first team with a first-round bye to win the first 2 years of the 12-team CFP, and Marist High School's very own Pat Coogan was named Rose Bowl Offensive MVP.
It's probably the first, if I had to guess, offensive lineman MVP, but it's all a credit to my teammates and my coaching staff for, first of all, just believing in me and the ability to make my calls and diagnose a defense and fully entrusting in me and my abilities, and then a credit to all my teammates. Like, these guys are unbelievable.
How would you describe the turnaround and what you've been able to build in a short period of time?
It'd be a hell of a movie.
What a character. Here's the updated bracket. Ole Miss will take on Miami in the Fiesta Bowl on Thursday. Then Indiana will host Oregon in the Peach Bowl on Friday. That is a rematch from the regular season where Indiana upset Oregon at home 30-20. Oregon and Indiana have never won a national title, and Miami has not won one since 2001. And Ole Miss was co-champion once with Minnesota back in 1960. And things are about to get interesting in college football as the transfer portal opened today. Back to you, Terrence.
All right, Cassie, thank you. Fantasy football season is winding down, and one family league locked in a very creative punishment for the loser. Come on back. All right, it's time for What's Trending with M&T. Almost said M&T, but
M&T.
M&T.
I like it. It's sounds like a detective team from
Yeah,
the 70s.
let's say, or a law
right?
firm.
Yeah. Go with law firm. Well, you know, lots of fantasy football leagues are winding down, and many have a punishment for the last play. Well, this Central Florida family has had a long-standing tradition. The loser has to stand on the side of the road in a banana suit, holding up a sign clarifying that they are the loser. What kind of punishments can you think of here?
I don't know, because that's not that bad.
Yeah.
I would make them, like, I don't know, run in public. Well, never mind. I was thinking about something that's illegal. You can't do that.
In their birthday suit?
Wear like the rivals team mascot or something and walk up to people and scream something. You know, something more than
A banana suit, right?
Yeah. That looks fun.
Well, it kind of does, you know.
This looks fun too. Have you seen this? Will Ferrell, you know him from SNL,
Sure.
some great movies as well. He decided he just wasn't going to watch the game. He wanted to run it. This was at the Kings and Bolts game last night. Will, a longtime fan, he went full commitment, not in the stands. You saw him there in the stripes. Yes, dressed as a referee. And apparently, this makes sense. It's on brand with him. He's done this before. Costumes, characters. He even wore the elf get up at one point.
Oh, really?
This time he said if they needed him, he was ready to hit the ice. He hasn't skated in 15 years. He did not care. Confidence was clearly high. Common sense, optional.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You know.
I think you better stick with the elf suit. You know, when I first saw that, I thought, well, maybe he was the scorecard keeper or something. I'm like, well, is the NHL going to allow that?
Yeah.
But I guess they allow, anybody in.
No shift for you, Farrell.
Yeah,
no
absolutely
shift for
not.
you. If you could referee any sport, would you just tag in? Sign
You know
up
what?
for it?
I have so much respect for referees that I would just go, I'm leaving it to the professionals.
They deal with a lot.
You know, I mean, it's funny because I always try to watch the play and then, like, I don't know, how did that guy see that? And then, of course, they play back, and 95% of the time, the guy had it right.
And not just in the majors. This happens in, like, Pee Wee football, too. Like, I feel for those refs as well. You don't want to come between a parent and their kid.
I was going to say the problem is you get those parents in the stands, and you got to want to. I would want to drop the hammer on the parent.
I would have fun ejecting people from the game.
Yes,
That would be a
Dad,
lot of fun. You're out.
Dad, out of
You're
here.
out. The cold is about to be out of here.
Yeah.
Soon.
Well, the weekend, we're going to be about normal, but we're going to be cold, 30s for Saturday and Sunday. But look at Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. A week of this, basically the first week of January, we're living right here, my friend.
That's the best way to break in the new work week.
Right.
Of the new year. Like,
Ease into
ease
January.
us in, because it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough. Thanks for watching Fox 52 News at 9 here on Fox the Local. We will see you on WFLD after the game.
Once again, your favorite bar is throwing a party just for weather nerds, and you've got an exclusive ticket. Yes, welcome to the ISO Bar, the highs and lows of meteorology. And I am joined by my cohort. Of course, we've got Emily down in Chicago, chief meteorologist in Fox Chicago, Rich over in Detroit, chief meteorologist in Fox Detroit, and myself, Rob, right here in Milwaukee, chief meteorologist at Fox in Milwaukee. Thank you both for jumping in. It has been a fortnight since we chatted. Yes, 2 weeks, and so much has gone on weather-wise. So let's start with